our home website page here, you can see lots of videos like this. You just click on our support tab here at the top and go to our YouTube channel. This recording will be on there as well as a lot of other ones like it. It's a great place to go for a lot of our resources that we have available. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my OptionVue with you now. And let me just click on the webinar here again, just to make sure that I'm recording and everything is going okay. 1 second here. So we are recording. And okay. So going back to my OptionVue screen here. Okay, so this is where you start off when you first come to OptionVue. Basically, you can totally customize, any symbols you have in here. Okay. One of the key things to do when you're setting up a TradeFinder for the first time is, you're always going to want to make sure that the settings are dialed in properly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just click on my settings tab real quick. And the default model section is going to have a big effect on anything you're doing or modeling in OptionVue, and that's slippage. I have slippage set to none, just so you know. Some people like to do TradeFinder or do modeling with trades with slippage set to small or moderate. Basically, what slippage is it means you're not getting a pure market price unless you have slippage set to none. If you have it set to small or moderate, it means you're going to get a little bit worse, buying a little bit closer to the ask and selling a little bit closer to the bid. So just so you know, I have my slippage setting to none. Okay, that's really the main setting I wanted to point out to you guys. The other one, I guess I should mention this as well, is commissions. I mean, commissions are going to have a big effect on the returns. Depending on how many contracts you're doing. You can change commissions going under the info button here and then down to what the schedule here. And you can see I'm just modeling using a dollar per side. Okay. Okay. So these are some of the columns you're going to want to have if you're doing earnings. Okay. Earn date. And you can change the column setting up here, or insert a column. You can just left click and hit the insert button on your keyboard, or you can come over here and say insert column. Okay, then you can right click and you can change the column heading to whatever you want it to be. This is an important one. OptionVue is pulling in earnings dates here, so this way OptionVue is going to know that there's an event coming up when you're doing some modeling or doing TradeFinder. And what you can also do is you can right click in this little area here above the earnings, and it will put the underlines in order of when their earnings are coming up. So that's kind of cool. So you can see what's coming up right away if you have a list of underlines that you want to look for earnings plays on. And again, you just right click here and it puts them in order. Okay. So the other thing we're going to do now is I'm going to take you into TradeFinder. Now there's some steps that you want to do before you go into TradeFinder, and you definitely want to make sure. I'm going to look at Delta here. You're going to double click on the underline. You want to make sure you open up an options chain for the underline you want to do the TradeFinder scan on. Okay, and that's because you want to make sure you pull in all the data that TradeFinder is going to use. Okay, the other thing that I make sure I do also is I will come into the price chart and I'll select the earnings button here. Okay, that's what this button does, and it pulls up these little triangles to tell you where the past earnings events were. And I just do this to just make sure I've got good information coming in. Okay, so once you've done that, you can then go into TradeFinder. Okay, and you want to start at these tabs, and I go left to right. So you want to first click on the Assets tab and click on this number 1 button here. That's going to pull in whatever you're looking at right now. Okay. Let me see someone saying no video here, so let me go in and make sure I'm sharing my screen real quick. 1 second here. No, I'm showing that I am sharing my screen. Okay. I'm going to go back to my OptionVue here. Okay, so again, Assets tab first. Then you're going to click on the number 1 button to pull in the symbol. We're looking at Delta Airlines here. Okay. I'm going to go to my target button here. Okay. And I'm going to select bell curve. And then you just go right down the line here, and you're going to pull in all this current information. When you're doing earnings plays, you want to make sure you click on the second button here. And here is the earnings date. Actual announcement is before the market opens on the 13th. So the event date is the 13th. Okay. And you can see over here, OptionVue is already anticipating that the volatility is going to drop after the announcement comes out. So all of this information is taken into account when you're doing TradeFinder. I'm going to go to strategies. Okay. And Delta Airlines is kind of a little bonus I'm giving you guys. If you have our earnings module, Delta Airlines is one of the non-movers that's happening this week. Okay, so if you're doing a non-mover, I like to do calendars because it usually stays within a certain range. Delta, as far as our earnings module ranking system goes, it's a 40, which means on average over the last 2 years, if you would have done this, it's going to return 40%. Okay, so what our earnings module says is to do a calendar right at the money. Okay, I'm going to use TradeFinder to see if I can find some other calendars, and you can see I selected horizontal debit spreads right here. Okay, you can do a search under a number of different strategies at the same time if you want to, or if you prefer to do condors or straddles or strangles, you can do scans for those as well. Okay, but I have my horizontals selected right here. I'm then going to click on goals, and you can put in the capital you want to use to do this trade. Okay, OptionVue's TradeFinder is going to try to maximize the capital that you provide. Okay, the next tab up here is filters. Okay, and I always want to make sure that there's some open interest going on when I'm looking for something. I don't want it to go out and find something where there's no open interest, and the reason for that is can be some really strange bid and ask prices out there that are going to produce some unrealistic results in TradeFinder for you. Okay, and then this last filter I leave blank. Now you can really start to add some more filters in here. For instance, if you want to do a calendar and you don't want to look at anything further than 3 or 4 or 5 weeks out, you can say minimum days to buy. Okay, I recommend when you start using TradeFinder for the first time is to kind of have don't have many parameters in here defined right away, and then do a scan. And if you get results back, that means it's coming back with good results. Now you can start adding in parameters one at a time, because if it comes back to you and says no profitable strategies found, then it was because of the last filter you just put in. Okay, so based on these strategies now, okay, and my target, I'm going to go ahead and hit go here and go and look for calendars for me. Okay, and I have these ranked on expected return. Okay, and so now you can see some results coming up here. Now remember, we're saying that Delta Airlines is a non-mover, so we want to find things that are close, calendars that are close or just outside of this center price. This is where Delta is trading right now. Okay, so a 46 would look good. I like looking at that. I'm looking at the expected return, but you've also got some nice best case return results here as well. So let's just take a look at this 44.5. Okay, and what I can do right away is I can just highlight this and I can send it to the matrix. Okay, and here it is. It's showing me an at the money. Okay, on the put side. Okay, and then I can go ahead and I can analyze that right away. Okay, now this is showing down here on the left, is showing us the expected event modeled at today plus 2 days. That's what that means. That's 2 days from now. Okay, and this is where you would be on that day after the announcement. Okay, we've got the underlying price down here, and this is your profit based on $500 and your percent return. Okay, these diamonds down here are showing you where the market is predicting the move to be. Okay, and you can see it's about 4% in either direction. Okay. If you have the earnings module, this is kind of a bonus feature down here. These triangles, you have a green triangle and a red triangle. Based on the last 2 years of earnings announcements, if it was a down move, Delta has moved just down about 1%. And if it was an up move after the announcement, it's only gone up about 2%. So you can see that on average, this is how much Delta moves. It really doesn't move that much, which is why it's on one of our non-mover lists for the earnings module. And you can see over here that I'm kind of on the break evens on both sides here with where the market is anticipating the move to be. Okay, so that is one way to take a look at TradeFinder. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear these trades. I'm going to look at something else that I like to do. I like to do double calendars a lot. Okay, which means usually if we have a situation like this, I would like to do maybe one a little bit out of the money on the upside and one a little bit out of the money on the downside, just to kind of widen out the area that I'm covering for my profit zone. Okay, so I'm going to go back to TradeFinder here. Okay, and I'm going to look at this 46, excuse me, and I'm going to look at maybe this 44 I see. Let's see if I can find something a little bit lower. It's 43. And so what I'm going to do now is I have this highlighted. I'm going to hold down the control key. Okay. And I'm going to go down. Where was the 43 I wanted to look at? 43 and a half. Okay. I'm holding down the control key. I'm going to click on this as well. So now I'm going to send both of these to the matrix. Okay. And you can see them both here. Okay. Now you can see my commissions down here, and this trade's roughly going to cost me, $9.50 to do this trade. Okay. And so now I'm going to analyze both of these together and see what they look like. Okay. So it's given me a little bit more range on the downside and on the upside. It's giving me 7% is my break even and 5% down here. And we're looking about, if we are in this range, just over 100% return if we do this trade. Now, what I also like to do is I like to go to my price chart after I'm analyzing a trade like this. Okay, and I can now put in this little profit zone here, and it's going to show me, based on the position I'm modeling, where my profit zone is. Okay, and by doing this, I'm kind of able to see where support and resistance is for Delta. Things tend to move down to support or move up to resistance if it's an up or a down move, if it's a big move. But again, Delta here tends not to move that much. So I mean, if you kind of look at an announcement, you can see that a couple days before we're already trading up here. I mean, this kind of area of where Delta will move to is well within the range that I've kind of created here. So this is the kind of trade that I love doing. I love trading Delta just because it's such a good quality, has a good quality rating with our earnings module. So so this is something that I would consider doing. Now the other thing is that Delta is not announcing for another day here. So this is something I might want to model tomorrow. If I find a really good trade, I would go ahead and put it on a couple days before. But a lot of times you want to do it the day before, just in case we have a big move in the market tomorrow and the center price of Delta moves away, and so you're not centered anymore. Okay. The other thing you can kind of do, so I'm going to go ahead and analyze this one, and then I'm going to go ahead and clear these trades. Okay. And let's just say we were going to do, I'm just going to put on a naked straddle here. And let's see, it's probably going to be, kind of want to get in the same price range so that I'm comparing apples to apples here. Let's just see what this is going to, no, this is going to cost a lot. And these are expensive. This is why I like doing calendars better, because they're not a lot of risk as far as capital goes. But this is roughly the same price as what we were looking at before. Okay, so I'm going to analyze this one now. Got to do a minus here, not a plus, so it's not going to cost the same. It's going to cost, it does roughly. So we'll go ahead and analyze this one now. Okay, so this is another non-directional strategy. This saying delta is not going to move. And now what I can do is I can actually superimpose my trade over this one. Lot better return doing my double calendar than doing a naked straddle. Okay, so this is really neat because you can really use TradeFinder's results and analyze them, superimpose them, combine different TradeFinder results together. Okay, so that's an example of a non-mover. Let's take a look at something that really does move. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to close this. And now let's take a look at Netflix. Netflix is next week. You can see over here. It's going to be after the market close on the 17th. Okay. And we're going to go through the same steps again. We're going to go ahead and open up a price chart for Netflix. Make sure you have your earnings button selected here so you can see that this thing really gaps and moves. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go to the matrix now, my options chain. Okay. And I'm going to clear anything out I was looking at before. I'm going to go to TradeFinder. Okay. Going to start at the first tab on the left and move to the right again. So I'm going to click on the Asset tab. I'm going to click on my number 1 button here. That's the current asset I'm looking at. I'm going to go to Targets. Okay. And then I'm going to go down the list here. Always this button for earnings. And click on here. And OptionVue knows this, so it's already anticipating that there's going to be a volatility crush after the announcement. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and just go through and make sure I got my horizontals here again. We're going to look at my $500 I'm using for a goal here, and I just have my open interest down here set to open interest for each side or each leg that I'm doing has to be at least 20. Okay. And now expected return, I'm going to go ahead and hit go. And waiting for the results to come up here. Okay. And you can see there's a lot more options trade on Netflix than Delta Airlines. So TradeFinder, will take a little bit longer to run. But let's see what we've got here. So center price is 140 right now. Let's take a look at, let's see, let's do a 170. Okay, remember I'm using $500 worth of capital. So, I mean, my expected return is 416, not a bad return, expected return. Okay, so this is the 170. Let's see if I can find something on the put side. Well, let's analyze this one first. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send this one to the matrix just to see where it's at. And you can see how far and out this goes because I don't have parameters set up to be looking at something that's closer in. Now, the kind of benefit for this, because there is open interest out here, is that when you go this far out, you can find some good debit spreads here for not a lot of money. Okay, so let me just show you. This is the May and the June, so you know there's going to be volume and open interest out here. Let's just analyze this and see what it looks like. Okay, it looks phenomenal if we can get this price. Okay, and this is why I love TradeFinder, because it'll draw your attention to things that would take a long time to kind of scan for, just eyeing it. Okay, so you can see that if you can get filled at this price, look at your profit zone all the way out to this side. Okay, so if you are bullish, I mean, this thing is this is where the average move is over the last 2 years, 15%. And again, these triangles only come up with the earnings module. Over the last 2 years, if it was a down move, roughly, just under 10%. Okay, so this thing really moves. So this is the kind of trade that I would really like to do if I can get both sides covered, because I know it's going to move. This is where the market's saying it's going to move. It's going to move, between 8 and 9%. And then to the downside, probably around 8%. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this one. I'll leave that there because I like it. And then I'm going to clear this one and start over when I go to TradeFinder because I'm going to keep that one there. And then let's find something if we can go down to the downside. Here's a 135. Okay, I'm going to hold down the control key and click on this one and send both of these to the matrix now. Okay, you can see this one's in a little bit a week earlier. Okay, we've got some open interest here. Okay. I'd be concerned a little bit here because there's not a ton of open interest, but I can look at these prices coming down here, and it looks like it's okay. It's in line with where it should be priced. And now I'll go ahead and analyze this. Okay. Now, this, of course, because this is further out in time, you can see that the shape of it is different. Okay. And this is because we're not going to be looking at expiration on this one. We're looking at expiration on the one that would expire first. Okay, that's as far as we're going out. But regardless, you can see that my profit over here zone is pretty nice. Okay, so if you're neutral Netflix or bullish Netflix, this looks like a fantastic trade. But you can really design these trades based on what TradeFinder gives you, or it leads you in the right direction for a trade that you're looking to create and design. A lot faster than just plugging and playing in the options chain and then analyzing and seeing what it's gonna look like. Okay, and that's because OptionVue TradeFinder is looking at the prices of each leg. Okay, and so the lower the price of the leg, it can give you an edge on getting these trades on. Okay, so analyze those. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go back to the matrix again here, and we've got these on here. Just want to make sure I analyze. I want to show you a straddle versus the strategy we're just looking at. So let me go ahead and just make sure I've got this one, and where was it at? My 145 put. Where was I at? Let's just look at a different one. Let's look at the 75. Let's look at the 70 actually. We'll look at the 70 this time, and we'll look at my 135 put. So I'm going to hold down my shift key. Not the shift key. Shift key highlights them all. Control key. There we go. Send these trades to the matrix. Analyze. Close. I'm going to clear these trades out. I'm going to look at the at the money straddle. See, it's going to warn you that these things are expiring soon. Okay, I'm going to compare apples to apples. So let's say we're going to try to make this 1,000. So we're going to say, we'll say 5 and 5. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and analyze this one. Okay. And then what we can do is we can superimpose these over each other. Okay. Let me close this. This straddle looks interesting to me. And I'm not looking at this because Netflix is next week, not this week. And you can see right away the difference in the price, of course. So definitely only going to be doing one of these to try to compare the amount of capital that I'd be doing for my double calendar versus this. Okay. Looks much better now. Okay. So if you look at this, now you can see that this has to move 9% to the downside or 8% to the upside in order for us to break even, and then anything to the outside of that is profit. Okay, let me show you. Let me try to superimpose this for you if I can. So let me delete this one, and I'm deleting the screens. OptionVue saving these risk graphs for you. Let me delete this one. This one. Let's see. There we go. So now let's superimpose these two over each other. And you can see I'm covered in a much larger area on this calendar that I designed, and definitely way covered to the upside over here. So the only time this straddle would do better is if it started moving outside 21%. You see that right here. Okay. And to the downside, it does better if it does break over 10% down move. Okay. So I'll go ahead and close this now. And let's go ahead and analyze this by itself again. And then I like, again, to go to the price chart so I can see now, if I use this little show profit zone button, looks like a boomerang here, you can see how far this has to move before we're in the profit zone out here. Okay, now we're modeling this early. Okay, you got to remember that Netflix earnings aren't until next week. So, but if you can get a good price on you can see it's definitely trading in a range right here. If you can get a good deal or get a trade that really models nice for a good price, you're gonna, have a real nice setup here for a profit zone. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go close this here. And let's clear this trade again. And we're going to go back to TradeFinder again. I'm going to put that up trade that I was showing you in the price chart. Okay. You can see they're out here. This little arrow always brings you out to where your trades are. Okay. And so now I'm going to go ahead and analyze this one again. And now I will go to the price chart, and we're going to show our profit zone for this one. Looks a lot better than the straddle does, for sure. And it's actually going to cost you a little less. Okay, so that's really why I like horizontals, because it gives you so many different trades to work with. You can do calendars where they're not just right next to each other, but you could do one, and I have TradeFinder set up that it would find those, but it's still finding these are the best ones right now. But you could have something that you're selling here and then long, skipping a week, and long, 2 weeks out. Okay, so it's a ton of fun to use TradeFinder during earnings season. I have found some really, really fantastic trades that I've been able to put on, and almost kind of an arbitrage situation sometimes when you find some mispriced options, or just the demand for options is just wild close to earnings around all of these different strikes that you can kind of be able to take advantage and get a really good net price for one of these spreads. Okay, I'm going to clear that and close this, and just want to see if there's anything else I wanted to really touch base with you on there. I mean, it was pretty cool. We were able to look at a horizontal for a non-mover, and then how you can design a trade for something that is expected to move really big. Okay. Let's see. Let me just see if there's any questions over here. Okay. TradeFinder comes with any OptionVue subscription. I had someone asking me what I would need to look for to use TradeFinder, and I had another question this week. Someone was asking me, James, do I have TradeFinder? TradeFinder comes with whatever you have. The other really, really fantastic thing about TradeFinder is that it works with BackTrader, and I usually recommend this to people that have first start out with TradeFinder. Is you can come into Netflix, you can go to a price chart, you can click over here, and you can say, okay, earnings were on, I'm looking down here now, January 19th. Okay, you can go to the day before January 19th. So I'm going to go, you can go into BackTrader here, and you can say, let's go back to not to the 18th. Let's go back another day. I'm going to click on this D button and go to the 17th. Okay, and now you can see when you watch this whole, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and you're going to see we are now on this date. Okay, you can see where Netflix was trading on this specific date. We've got all this data every half an hour, and then you can come into Netflix, and it's updating all this information. You can come into, and everything like we did before. We can go into TradeFinder. Okay. And now, look, it's going to pull in all the information from that particular date and time. Now, the only thing I'll need to do when I'm doing this in BackTrader is I will want to go to the model button and the volatility button. And I'm probably going to have to clear this out. And let's just see if try doing this real quick here. I'm just going to delete the asset file so that it's going to pull in information just for this date here. I'm going to start over with Netflix. I'm going to go in here. Let me click on the model button again. Clicking on the volatility button here. And now it's got the information I want to look for. So basically what I was doing is I right-clicked on Netflix and deleted the asset file. So basically that's just getting rid of everything modeling that I'd done before. And now I'm going into Backtrader because I want to look at information from back here. And so now you can see that I've got all the information for the earnings announcement that was back in January. Now, this is going to look kind of weird to you, but Jim Graham just did a video on this last week. If you haven't seen it yet, he explains everything about how we're modeling volatility crushes and everything like that. Go ahead and go to our OptionVue page and then support tab, and then click on our YouTube link there, and it'll take you back to our YouTube channel where you can see all these recorded videos. So that's why I'm not going to go into this right now. But just so we know that, and now we can go ahead because we have all the information as of this time earlier this year, and then we do the same things we did before. Bell curve, date. We're going to click on this button because we want to look at where the volatility is going to go to. Same strategies, goals, and I can go ahead and go. And it's going to go ahead and find the same type of trades, horizontals we were looking for before. And this is a nice way to use TradeFinder because then you can step through time after you converted a trade and modeled it here to verify the results that it's giving you. Okay, and I'll go ahead and do that real quick for you right now, and then I'll probably leave you with that if there's no other questions. Okay, so we've got a nice one here showing 155. The top one here costs 8 cents. Best case return 2,900, and we're basing this on $500, and it's 659 expected return, over 100%. Okay, I'm going to send this trade in the matrix. I'm going to show where it's at. It's right here. Okay, plenty of open interest. I'm going to convert the trade. Okay, that way and it cost me $100 to put this on. That way we can see what's going to happen now as I step forward in time. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze it first. Okay. Okay, so it costs us $100. Basically, it costs us 25% to put this trade on because commissions I have set at $1, and we're doing, 100 contracts here. But let's go ahead and go to the next day. We'll go say 10 o'clock the next morning, and we're on Chicago time here. And now we're looking down here at our profit and loss, our gain and loss. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze it. Okay, so we're right here. Okay, so we're up 150. We're up to 650. So, and we got to remember, we got to pay $100 to get out of this trade too. So this is where commissions and the amount of capital you're using will definitely play into how well your trade does. Let's just go a little bit further this afternoon and see, because throughout the day, volatility is still coming down. Okay, now we look at this, where we're at this afternoon. Okay, this is actually 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Look at our return. Not too bad for a day's worth of searching for a trade. Okay. So anybody interested in more about TradeFinder, it is a pretty robust scanning tool. And it, produces as good a results as the data that we're putting into here. So that's why it's really necessary to go through the steps to make sure you have all the contracts and strikes defined that you want to do a TradeFinder scan on. Okay. And we are available to help you walk through this and to help you with it. Any questions you have, don't hesitate to give us a call. Okay, and I don't see any more questions coming through, so I hope that was really helpful, guys. You can always email me, James at OptionVue.com. I'd be happy to set up a time to work with you or talk to you more about this. This video will be posted on our YouTube channel. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it with that. Thanks for watching.